I like the movie. I think it did not do anything good for our sport. I think it turned our sport into like a joke, unfortunately.
Just days ago, Kyle Larson lit up the NASCAR world with a comment nobody saw coming. On a national podcast, he praised one of the most famous racing movies ever, then called it one of the worst things to happen to the sport. His words shook fans, split drivers, and reopened a debate that's been brewing for almost 20 years. And it all started with one simple question. Kyle Larson was a guest on Games with Names, a podcast hosted by NFL star Julian Edelman. The chat was lighthearted, favorite races, wild moments, and fun off-track stories. Then came the question that changed everything. What's the best racing movie of all time? Larson didn't hesitate to mention Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, the 2006 Will Ferrell comedy that's loved by millions. But then he dropped the twist. "I like the movie," Larson said. "I think it did not do anything good for our sport. I think it turned our sport into a joke, unfortunately." He went on to say that outside of NASCAR's loyal fan base, Talladega Nights is how most people picture the sport. Silly, over the top, and not to be taken seriously. It was a rare moment of blunt honesty, and it didn't take long for the internet to react. Larson's tone was relaxed, even a little playful, but his words were serious. He wasn't saying the movie was bad. In fact, he admitted it was entertaining and one of the most popular racing films ever made. His problem? The way it shaped the image of NASCAR for people who don't follow it. To them, Talladega Nights became NASCAR. Drivers are reckless. The races are wild brawls. Everything is a joke, and when casual viewers only know the sport through that lens, it becomes harder to show them the real side, the focus, skill, danger, and teamwork it truly takes to win. Larson sees NASCAR as a sport built on precision and respect for the craft, and he believes the movie's over-the-top comedy overshadowed that reality. Almost 2 decades later, fans still shout, "Shake and bake" from the stands or mimic Ricky Bobby's awkward interviews. And while some drivers laugh along, others, like Larson, worry it reinforces a caricature that the sport has been working to outgrow. And for a sport fighting to keep its professional image, Larson felt the movie didn't help. Larson isn't alone in this opinion. Bubba Wallace has also been open about not liking how Talladega Nights portrayed the sport. When he first saw it in high school, he thought, "They're making fun of our sport," even though he's softened on it over the years, admitting some scenes are funny. He still thinks it's not a good racing movie. Chase Elliott echoed the same feeling. He said if you're a driver and Talladega Nights is your favorite racing film, that's pretty far off base. He called it a huge departure from reality, a shortcut Hollywood used because it was easier than showing how NASCAR really works. Even William Byron, Larson's own teammate, backed him up on social media, posting 100%. Should not be the first thing people think of. But not everyone in NASCAR thinks Talladega Nights hurt the sport. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who even made a cameo in the film, sees it as harmless fun. On his podcast, he said the jokes were quick, clever, and self-deprecating, NASCAR laughing at itself. In his view, the movie didn't push fans away. It pulled new people in. It gave NASCAR exposure outside its usual audience and became part of pop culture. Many fans who first discovered NASCAR through the movie eventually learned to appreciate the real thing, turning movie laughs into race day cheers. Over the years, NASCAR has embraced the movie with special paint schemes, driver references, and even moments where real drivers copied scenes during races. Carl Edwards famously ran across the finish line after a crash, just like Ricky Bobby in the final scene. Teams have even dressed cars in Wonder Bread colors for throwback weekends, proving that for many, Talladega Nights isn't an insult, it's a celebration. The divide over Talladega Nights isn't new. NASCAR has always had mixed feelings about Hollywood's take on the sport. Back in 1990, Days of Thunder, starring Tom Cruise, was supposed to be NASCAR's big Hollywood breakthrough, but drivers like Dale Earnhardt and Alan Kulwicki didn't like how it portrayed racing. They said it made them look like they were running bumper cars. Behind closed doors, NASCAR officials even told drivers to tone down their criticism so the movie wouldn't flop. Ironically, Larson called Days of Thunder the best racing movie ever, and he even revealed that Tom Cruise is seriously considering a sequel, something he heard directly from Jeff Gordon, who's friends with Cruise. Talladega Nights hit theaters in 2006 and became a massive hit, making over $160 million worldwide. Its lines, "If you're not first, you're last," and "Shake and bake," are still quoted by fans, athletes, and even people who've never watched a NASCAR race. That's part of the problem for some drivers. The movie's jokes are repeated so often at the track that it can get old fast. And because it's a comedy, people remember the laughs, not the actual racing. For drivers like Larson, that constant repetition keeps reinforcing a stereotype that NASCAR has been trying to move away from. Larson's criticism of Talladega Nights comes with an extra layer of irony. In 2020, he was suspended from NASCAR for using a racial slur during a live-streamed iRacing event. It was a major PR scandal, and it damaged his public image. He served his suspension, completed sensitivity training, and returned to the sport stronger than ever, winning the Cup Series championship in 2021. But his past showed just how quickly public perception can shift. So when Larson talks about a movie shaping NASCAR's image, it's coming from someone who's had to manage his own image very carefully. Back in 2006, when Talladega Nights came out, NASCAR was near the height of its popularity. The stands were packed, TV ratings were strong, sponsors were lining up. In 2025, things look different. Crowds are smaller, ratings are lower, and the sport is fighting to keep younger fans interested. Some people believe that a fun, quotable movie like Talladega Nights was a gift, keeping NASCAR in the public conversation. Others agree with Larson, saying it trapped NASCAR in a goofy image that's hard to shake. Next year marks the 20th anniversary of Talladega Nights. NASCAR will almost certainly celebrate it with throwback liveries, events, and maybe even a nod during a race weekend. At the same time, there's a chance that Days of Thunder 2 could be in the works, a film that might give NASCAR a more serious Hollywood moment. Larson's comments might not change how people feel about Talladega Nights, but they've reopened the conversation about how the sport is seen by the outside world. Will NASCAR lean into the joke for the 20th anniversary, or will it try to rewrite the narrative with something more realistic? One thing's for sure, Kyle Larson's words have made sure the debate won't be slowing down anytime soon.